welcome back to the Black Robe Podcast. It's your girl, Anzhane Slaughter, here with my lovely co-host, Miss Carol Mitchell. How are you doing,
old
Carol?
Girl, Carol Mitchell. I'm trying to do you. It's your old girl.
That's auntie right there. How's your day going, Carol? How are you doing on this January, 25th today as we're recording? Yeah.
Yep, we're recording. I am trying to be happy about what life has brought our way. We have some good things happening. The three of us did a grant proposal Sunday night that may bring us some new resources to do some more good work. And so I got to be happy about that.
That's right.
Got to be happy about the fact that I'm still vertical and not horizontal.
Absolutely.
In pandemic times. So
Right.
We have reason to be glad. You are about to birth a new thing.
I know, I'm pregnant, guys. Not with a baby.
not
a baby,
baby,
but a business. And that's
creative
exciting.
Baby.
A creative baby, absolutely. An extension to my real estate business. But our work that we do, because we do the heart's work, we do the community work, we do the work that's needed and necessary for the betterment of the Black community, for the betterment of equity, betterment of Tacoma, betterment of Washington. We can keep going, but this work can also be draining, Carol. You do a lot of good work with our Chimes program, the IBJ.
You see, it's got me drinking.
That good old Coca-Cola. What you got, a little rum in there?
Oh, girl, I wish. It's got me drinking cherry Coke. Now, when I drink black soda, I'm in trouble because
It's been one of those days.
Yes. My cousin used to work for Coke, and she told me stay away from the black soda. So, I'm in trouble. But I'm excited about what you and the other young adults are doing, what you're planning, because we have had another epidemic of sorts with the number of homicides in Pierce County over this last year.
Yeah. And
homicides have gone up and the unsolved cases have gone down. I'm sorry. Yeah. The number of solved cases has gone down. So something is going on nationally. The trend is up, and I would guess the pandemic has something to do with it.
Well,
we were more pressure on people.
Yeah, we were having this conversation. I remember having this conversation last year, right? And it was the same. It was kind of the same story. We saw the same narrative where there was increased violence, increased crime, gun violence specifically, and a decrease in the completion of these cases, right? And that was around the time where we saw Jesse Johnson's bill, which shout out to Representative Johnson over there and the 30th LD, I believe, with de-escalation, just promoting accountability when it comes to law enforcement. There was a lot of negative backlash from people, police officers. And Carol, I've said this on the podcast before, we need our police officers. Do not get me wrong. I'm not anti-police, okay? But we need reform. And that's the thing. They were all scared. They were like, how do we do our job? So we started seeing a shift in our police, division, right? People are just moving out, like, not even just Washington, but we saw it in Portland, Oregon, we saw it. Seattle, people were just leaving the cities, and it's like, who's going to protect now the communities, the children, right? So
and we get really upset. Like last year, I mean, we had some personal examples of young people dying, being killed. I'm actually going to be supporting a mother whose young child, he was young to me, 30-something years old at the time, who was brutally killed up at People's Park a few years ago. And finally, that trial is actually going to be moving forward because, the other piece is, even once the case gets somewhat solved and you've got somebody arrested, the court system is constipated right now.
Right. The court. Ain't nothing
That's
getting
the best
through the
word I
courts.
can think of.
It's so slow. It's ridiculous, right? The backlog. I mean, it's always been backlogged, but even with the pandemic, people ain't even going to the courts. They can't open the files. I mean,
I never have trouble finding a parking spot at the county city building anymore because nobody's there. Nobody's coming. Everybody's, zooming in or zooming out. But I saw recently that jury trials were suspended because of Omicron, and COVID. So you can't really bring people in, jurors in, and put them in a very small space together when half of them may not be vaccinated, because that's a whole other issue. But back to homicides, we're gonna bring some folks together.
Right.
And have a conversation. Talk a little bit about Let the King Speak.
Well, not to correct you, but to correct you, it's Let the Kings Talk.
Oh, it's going to be talk now, huh?
It's always been talk. Let the Kings talk.
Get your title down.
Well, hey, the flyer, we'll see on the flyer. That will be when it's set in stone. But I don't know, maybe we need the people to weigh in on this. What do you guys want? Let the Kings talk or let the Kings speak? And whatever the people say, that's what the IBJ will do, because that's what we do, okay? We step up when we see voids or needs in the community. These homicide rates it hurts. It's our family. These are our brothers and our sisters that we're losing here, okay? These aren't the privileged white kids that go to the Catholic school, okay? These are the people that live just, regular common folk and, usually in lower income neighborhoods, okay? Let's just be real.
This is your cousin Ray Ray we talking about, right? You know, the one that went to church with you when you were 14.
This is your uncle, right? Exactly. Okay, this is your uncle, your Uncle Larry. Honestly, so what we're gonna have, the Let the Kings Talk, is it's gonna be half of a movie screening. Let me back up. It's a gun violence prevention event, okay? Because we need to just have a conversation. IBJ, we're pulling together some of our people in our vault, our supporters, people that we've had on the show, people that believe in equity and fighting from a Black perspective. We're gonna have these kings, okay, sit on a panel moderated by some young Black men that are part of the IBJ's Design Challenge, and have this dialogue, right? It's gonna be really powerful. We're looking at hosting it at the Blue Mouse Theater. So you guys, if you know anything about Tacoma or about small theaters, you know the Blue Mouse. Okay.
Yeah. Just go where the international film festivals are always held, or used to be always held back in the day. Over in Proctor. You'll find it.
You'll find it. And we'll have all the information posted on our website, our Facebook, our social medias, guys. We're going to promote this one good. It's going to take place February 24th. So we're actually giving you guys a month to put this on your calendar. It's a Thursday night, 6 to 9. Don't, make any other plans. Jot it down now. You guys got to be at this conversation because it's important. We need to really get our community together and discuss the issue, okay? Let's just be frank about it. Let's talk about it in an open setting, and then come up with some sort of action plan or strategy. How are we going to solve this? How are we going to come together and unite in solidarity with each other so that we can lower these homicide rates? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, one of the conversations yours truly here was trying to have before I was so rudely severed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do that?
One of the conversations was about creating a vision for justice. And I think since you can't have that conversation coherently in the halls of the county executive, let's have it in the halls of the Blue Mouse. Yep. What is the African American community's vision for justice? I know none of us want to see our young men and women involved with homicides on either side. I don't want it. I don't want them prosecuted because they have committed a homicide. I don't want them put in an early grave.
Yeah.
I don't want families destroyed because of multiple young people in the family being involved in robberies and burglaries and homicides and losing their young lives and potential to incarceration early.
Right.
So we want to put a stop to it and start to think out loud about what our future really could look like. Because that's
Absolutely.
a lot of community potential that's going by the wayside, in the grave early or in the living grave, which is what I call the jail and the prison.
Right.
That's a living grave right there. That's the walking dead.
Yeah, absolutely. We really do need to see some sort of shift in the way that we treat each other, the way that we talk to each other, just welcome each other and provide that belonging, right? I mean, why is it that, and every community kills each other, okay? If you look at any homogenous society where in China, there's Chinese killing Chinese, they're not calling it Chinese on Chinese crime, you know? There's white people killing masses of people, including other white people.
Have you ever seen Snapped on a Sunday night?
I don't try to watch them true crime stuff. I have an aunt that's big on that, and she got a lot of anxiety, and I don't want to live a life like that. You gotta
watch that because the white women are killing their husbands on a regular basis, apparently. So I mean, and it's not about money. It's not about money. You know, people like to think that it's about lower socioeconomic conditions, but people at all economic strata right now are having trouble. And part of it may be the pandemic and being isolated and kept inside is having an impact on our overall mental health and sense of wellness. And we're losing our ability to tolerate pressure and stress and disappointment and deal with sadness and anger. We can't get in to see a decent doctor or a counselor for 14 weeks, right? Yeah. You got to wait weeks and weeks and weeks to get in. And so I think the impact of holding all of that pressure and then throw on top of it, you've lost your job, your kids are at home screaming and hollering all day.
Right.
Or you see your children not getting an education because the schools don't really know what to do from one day to the next. Look at Seattle, staffing shortages, and the schools are closed 2 or 3 days a week. They don't know what to do in the midst of this pandemic. And that level of stress is causing a lot more domestic violence. DV has gone up. And frankly, DV for me is just one step away from some other serious assault or death.
So Carol, let me ask you something. Is all of this gun violence, do you think it's a mental health issue? Or do you think it's a, what would you say? Do you think it's a mental health?
I really
boils down.
I really believe there's a correlation just based on the work that I did over the last 5 years. There's a correlation between your frequency of showing up in the criminal justice system and an untreated or an undiagnosed or a misdiagnosed underlying health condition or substance use condition. There's a correlation. Now, it's not causation, right? One doesn't necessarily cause the other, but they show up together relatively often. And so our behavioral health, our mental health system, where it has failed, the jail has the largest mental health unit in the county.
Yeah.
Second only to Western State.
Wow.
The jail. Now, why is that? It's because we have failed to do what we need to do as a county. as a state, perhaps, to deal with behavioral health issues. And by that, I mean mental health treatment as well as substance use treatment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your mind is so important. I mean,
because really, can you really say you're rational when you pick up a gun and shoot and kill somebody? Would a rational
we can't blame the individual, because of their environment that they're forced to live in. People really aren't given the same opportunity. Everyone's not given the same opportunity. So how are we going to penalize someone, at the same, I don't know.
And I think people are more afraid now because there's a lot of tension in the air among families, among community members and racial groups and ethnic groups. There's this, hey, we can't even go to the Ukraine no more because there's tension in the air, right? So it's a worldwide problem. There's stress in the system. My brother, funny story, went and bought my mother, who is 85 years old, helped her buy a gun. Now look, here's what I told her. By the time you get up out your bed in the middle of the night because you heard somebody at the door, and find the keys to your trunk,
right,
and unlock your trunk, find the gun and put the bullets in it, what good is it?
Everything's gonna be gone out your house. The robber would have got your TV, your sofa, your refrigerator,
girl,
everything before you even put one musket in that.
And it's plenty. There is plenty to get in my mama's house, girl. There's some serious home shopping network going on in there.
Well, okay, to give you some perspective, people do, man, it's so crazy. I got a funny story, but it seems like everyone nowadays has a gun, especially, I mean, out here, and a lot of men, I feel like a lot of Black men have guns. And I'm not against guns. I believe in gun rights and, knowing how to operate a gun and only using one to protect yourself. I don't think you should carry it on your waist. I don't think that you should really even need it in your car. It's to protect your house. I mean, because I feel like when you have that with you, you're just more likely to pull it, or you're just
more likely to
more
use
on
it.
Edge. Right, exactly. You're just more on edge, or you have more of an ego, and you're just, now you feel like you can punk other people. Like, it just gives men that power. I think they, because I'm like, do you really think people are out to get you? I mean, if so, I don't need to be around you, because I don't want to be affiliated with anyone.
Some folks say that, it's compensation for some other things that ain't.
Well, nowadays it doesn't even be like that, because also people will say, I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have it, or that's kind of the mentality that people have nowadays, because so many people do carry guns that they feel like, dang, I can't bring a knife to a gun match, I can't bring my hands to a gun match. So it's just like,
back in the day you would just duke it out, right?
People feel like they're humiliated, and then if they get beat up, then they'll go and get their gun, and then they'll shoot up the whole place because they have to exert that power. So this is the type of mindset that we got to change. This culture, we got to change it, because it's not, it's not sustainable. If you just go out killing your whole bloodline, all your people, we're powers in numbers, and now you're killing off all your people. We got to think like some sort of strategy like that. But
I wonder if we need to do like what the Ashanti do up in northern Ghana. The 12 to 21-year-old boys are the primary source of labor in the village, and they are physically exerting. They physically exert themselves, creating the beautiful kente that everybody loves. It's not women that weave it. The men, the young men, 12 to 25-ish, those young men are doing the weaving, and then the women take it to the marketplace. Maybe we got to get our young men working earlier in life
I like the sound of
So
that
that all
now.
that testosterone and, pent up energy can be invested in something that would produce wealth for them and their families. How about that as an idea?
Yes. Now, do we have to worry about child labor laws?
14. We'll let you be 14.
Okay. There we
Because if you're
go.
working for your family, you can.
Oh yeah, if you're working for your family.
Yeah, if you're working on behalf of your family, you can be younger. But yeah, I think, that kind of thinking about, maybe not everybody is going to take an academic path,
No.
But even if they do, having a way to physically exert. Remember back in the day, we all used to have PE.
Yeah, I remember PE. Hip to be
We don't
fit.
have PE no more.
They don't have PE. Physical education. They don't talk about nutrition.
Where do you see arts and music and PE and all of those things now? You have to be part of Green Trike's extended learning program. And that's all grant funded now because the schools have stopped doing a lot of that. If you're not
That
on
should
the
be
football
mandated.
team, you don't get a whole lot of physical education. And I think the lack of physical movement is also part of why people don't deal well with frustration and stress. They're not energized well enough to get the blood flow and the oxygen to the brain. And then I do think the lack of brain development, there's good science telling us that you're 25 before your brain is fully developed. And so a lot of stupid stuff happens between like 14 and 25.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, some of it cannot be undone later because we make decisions and make mistakes.
And we're not given the same grace. That's the other thing. We're not given the same grace as other people. And we need to know that. I think we need to have those conversations in our households at a young age. I mean, my mom, she tried to, and not even just her, but I think my family, as they migrated all the way over to Seattle, Washington from, the East Coast, I believe, DC, we migrated all the way through Milwaukee and they just kept going, going north because they wanted to run away from what they thought was slavery or just, they wanted to run away. They didn't want to show that negative, side of the world. But I think that we need to have these conversations at a young age to know that we're not viewed the same way so that we hold ourselves with a little bit more dignity and pride. And because we don't want to fall victim to anyone else's stereotypes. We don't want to give in to what they already think, and we need to empower ourselves and, say, hey, you're too handsome to be doing that. Pull your pants up. Like, no beautiful queen is going to want you with your pants sagging like that. Or,
I don't want to see your dirty drawers and I don't want to see your thong hanging out of the back of your pants.
Exactly, ladies. I mean, there's some ways you can be kind of cute, but
get a bigger size. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah. And if you're not over 21, you really shouldn't be dressing like that. I'm not gonna I don't know, some of these young things around here nowadays
and let's be honest, some of what we see in our work with the child welfare system is we see this multi-generational trauma that's happened. And grandmama was in foster care, mama was in foster care, now you are headed to foster care, your child is in foster. And so when you have that multi-generational trauma that has not been addressed through some sort of therapeutic process, because it ain't cool to go to a therapist if you in the African American community and deal with your issues.
I denounce that. Anybody that believes that,
I denounce my throne.
No, I am actually seeking a Black therapist right now. So if you guys know of any good ones, let me know.
There's plenty of them out there. And there's some good ones because we've had to discover them because we think they bring that cultural relevance and that cultural understanding and they get it, and they don't get intimidated by the tone or the energy that
Right,
African
exactly.
American folk sometimes come into
And I
the
need
room
someone
with.
to, exactly. Sorry, Carol.
You
I
know what I
didn't mean to.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I need someone that understands the microaggressions out here in this world and doesn't make me feel like I'm crazy to be feeling this way, you know, even when it is from other people within the Black community. Like that's and that's all I'm gonna share.
We had that conversation too.
I ain't talking about my next session.
I mean, there's a whole level of expectations that come from within, you know, from within our family and within our own communities. That is stress in and of itself. And then we walk around in a world that claims to be colorblind, but isn't.
Right.
And throw gender and sexual identity on top of all of that foolishness and economic deprivation, and you have a pot ready to boil. And so I understand that stress level sometimes bubbles up and people don't have anywhere to go with that. And unfortunately, violence happens as a result. So we need to have this conversation on February 24th.
Yes, it's going to be a great one.
Where we going to be?
We're going to be at the Blue Mouse Theater here in Tacoma. As Carol mentioned, February 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. Concessions will be open because can't have a movie without some popcorn and maybe a little water. So we're partnering with another small business. Well, Carol and her soda. She gonna have her soda. I'm gonna have my water, okay? All right,
I'll have the water later. I flush it all down right before I go to bed.
There you go. But we hope to see you all there. COVID procedures as normal. Come masked up, guys. We're not spreading. We're not going to be a hot spot.
No.
We are not going to be a hot spot. Wear your mask. We'll have some masks if you don't have them. Okay. Yep. Carol, I even heard the health department. I saw the health department at an event. And they were giving out take-home COVID tests. Maybe we can partner with the health department and see if we can get some tests. I'll look into that.
Love that.
I'll look into that. If anybody from the health department's listening in now, reach out to me at Anzhane at instituteforblackjustice.com. At gmail.com. Is it Gmail? We'll put the information at the end of this show.
Anzhane at instituteforblackjustice.org.
We got it.
We're going to get these emails down, but thank you so very much for planning this. Looking forward to the Design Challenge cohort, helping to support, of course, Monique Glenn and Andre Jimenez and Dale Baker. In the backfield, you and beautiful Tia out front leading. So we'll talk more about this. Next week, we're going to have Nikki Blake on the podcast. So stay tuned for that.
All righty, guys. Well, on that note, we're going to peace out, but you guys all have a beautiful night and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.